Happy New Year to Drew Starr in North Carolina.
Happy New Year.
On the same time zone. I always like it when I'm on the same time zone as somebody. It makes it a little bit easier. We've both got the same rhythm of the day going on.
That's right. We never know when we're talking to you what part of the world you're coming from. So it's a good surprise.
My family don't know half the time, to be honest. What's a day like for you at the moment? Tell us about your job and what you're doing and what a normal day is like.
Well, right now we're just wrapping up our holiday vacation period. So today's the last day of Christmas and holiday kind of downtime and vacation. So the whole team meets back tomorrow. We're all going back to work tomorrow. So I haven't seen a lot of the guys in a couple of weeks. They've been scattered all over the country, and I'm excited to see my teammates.
Will it be straight back to the air, or do you have other admin to do first before you all start jumping again? How does it work?
No, the wintertime's a lot of admin work. Usually, whatever the last meet of the year is, whether it's a late nationals or, SISM in Qatar this year was a little bit late, or if there's a late world meet. Once we're done with that last competition, we'll take our foot off the gas and catch up on a lot of the Army paperwork and responsibilities and career obligations we have as soldiers. We'll do that between October and February or so. So we don't jump a lot through the late fall and through most of the winter. So when we go back to work tomorrow, we're going to be catching up on, our maintenance technicians are going to be looking at the gear really good and starting a maintenance cycle and starting all the preparatory work that we have to do for our winter training down in Florida. So a lot of that, the Golden Knights stand down 4 times a year for safety training. And the big one will be this coming week before we head down to Florida. We'll take a whole week off, do everything from Army safety, skydiving safety. We always do our annual water training and emergency procedures and, talk about all the incidents and cutaways and things we've seen throughout the year, not just from the Golden Knights, but from the industry at large. And we'll talk about those and how we see them and what we can do to improve on those processes and making sure that we're operating as safely as possible.
That's interesting. It's like your own little in-house symposium, isn't it? The knowledge is and the information's put around it. I like the idea. I like the form.
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, it's everything from the parachute maintenance side to classes on hypoxia, classes on night vision for our night demonstrations, all the way up to cold weather injuries as we get into the November, December jumping months. So we span a broad range of topics to make sure that we're operating in as safe an environment as we can.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for any amateur four-way teams out there in the winter, if they're meeting at a drop zone and they're not jumping, they could take something from this, couldn't they? They could look at a structured format for the weekend of, looking at incidents and equipment instead of just sitting around drinking tea and coffee. There's productive work.
That's right. I mean, you can never take safety too seriously, and that's something the Golden Knights pride ourselves on for sure.
Well, Golden Knights, probably the most, in my view, famous skydiving team ever in the world. How long have you been involved, Drew?
Well, I am starting my 16th year on the Army parachute team this year. So I've been in the Army just a touch over 18 years now, and I'm lucky to have spent 15 of those now with the parachute team.
Were you jumping before you joined the Golden Knights?
So I did my very first jump. I was 16 years old. I did a tandem.
Yeah.
And that was it. I knew I was going to jump out of airplanes in some way, shape, or form. And I was lucky. I'd always known I wanted to join the military. But when I talked to the recruiter, I had just made my skydive. So I asked each one of the recruiters, hey, do you guys jump out of airplanes? And the Army guy said, yeah, we sure did. So from there, my goal was to become a paratrooper. And I enlisted in the Army and met that goal and went to Fort Benning for the Army jump school. And in 2004, I was assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division and jumped static line on the tactical side of the house, jumping from 800 feet at night with 300 of my best friends and 100 pounds of gear strapped to me. And then I realized that skydiving was a little bit more fun than that. So I picked up skydiving as a hobby when I was in the 82nd Airborne Division. And then I found out about the Golden Knights. I didn't even know the Golden Knights existed when I joined the Army.
Oh, so you weren't aware of that when you first started your military jumps? You weren't aware that there was this team?
No, it was a happy accident. I had been skydiving for a year or so, and We used to do something in the fall called the Black and Gold meet, which was basically we invited everybody in the military who was an active licensed jumper, and they got to come out to our training facility in Laurinburg, North Carolina, and jump for free with the Golden Knights. And that's how I found out about the parachute team. I went with one of my buddies, and I jumped Golden Knight airplanes for free, and could not believe that was a job that the Army offered, and I tried out the very next year.
Yeah, it's an incredible history and heritage. I was very lucky and fortunate to have a trip with Chris Talbot. He took me to the museum, the Golden Knights Museum. And that is an incredible experience with the night actually outside as a centre point as you're right. It really is it's almost like one of those solemn moments to actually tour that facility.
It really is an incredible facility. And you know, I've been on the team for 15 years now. And every time I walk through the museum and I look at all the trophy cases, to this day, I find something new that I'd never seen before, that the soldiers that had come before me had accomplished, and you know, I've seen some of my own stuff in there, and I hope for a long time that I see some of my successor stuff in there when I go back to visit the team.
Were you competitive as a kid? Were you doing sports? Were you getting medals and things?
I mean, I was competitive, but I wasn't like an athlete. You know, I swam, I played tennis. You know, I didn't make a lot of the varsity teams by the time I had hit high school. I grew up in a school with a lot of athletically talented kids, so I never made it quite too far, but I didn't like losing for sure.
Yeah.
But I luckily with the parachute team and with the Army, I found a way to kind of harness that competitive drive.
And it's a lot of people, isn't it? There's, you know, with the 8-way team, for instance, you know, and the coaches and everything else, you've got a lot of people there who are highly motivated, good achievers, best in the world. What an atmosphere to be around year after year.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And it's taxing, right? Because a lot of the guys are the same way. It's a lot of type A personalities. It's a lot of people who grew up in competitive environments.
That's what I was getting to.
That's it. I mean, we'll play cards at a meet, or we'll throw a football at a meet, or we'll play ping pong or whatever. It doesn't matter. But if you're losing, then it's a frustrating time. And your teammates, they like to let you know that you're losing too. So we all take joy in winning, you know, no matter if it's at a skydiving meet or just in a friendly pickup game of football.
Can you remember your first competition with the team? Can you remember?
Yes, my first competition was actually the 2010 World Meet in Menzelensk. Was my very first meet with the Golden Knights. So I was the videographer at the time. I had about a half a year's training. I joined the 8-way team at the beginning of 2010.
Yeah.
And I was really just kind of feeling everything out. And for a world meet to be your first, you know, real competitive experience was it was wild. You know, I'd never really traveled overseas before.
Yeah.
And so I remember showing up that meet, and Airspeed Odyssey was the US 4-way team. And I remember when we were, you know, getting registered and getting started with practice jumps, Stevie Nowak was the camera guy for those guys. And I pulled him aside and I said, "Hey, this is my first meet. You know, what, you have any pointers? You know, what should I do?" And he just smiled and he said, "Yeah, press record and don't stop looking at it." And then he walked away. So I thought, "Great, Stevie, I appreciate that. That really helped." But luckily, it was a pretty good meet for us, and we didn't get the result that we wanted. But it was the start of, you know, one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life.
The first Dubai International Championships was 2010. I can't remember if they had 8-way though. Were you guys there with 8-way in 2010?
No. The Russia World Meet was my first gig. In fact, we hadn't even won the nationals by that point. The team without me in 2009 had placed second in 8-way at the U.S. Nationals in Texas, and Airspeed passed it down to the Golden Knights. So it wasn't until the nationals that year at Skydive Chicago was the first time that we'd actually won an 8-way competition.
Yeah, and the hits kept coming, eh? The championships kept coming, the medal and the records. I remember, I think it might have been the World Air Games 2015, where I think you set 2 world records back to back.
The World Air Games in 2015 was the second one. So it was back-to-back meets. The U.S. Nationals in Eloy that year, we set a world record on round 1 of the 8-way meet. And then later later that year at the World Air Games, we broke it and set another one.
Where's it at now, the record? I've kind of lost touch a little bit with it.
It's still 33. We still maintain that record.
Good.
Yeah, we hadn't gotten close since 15, but there's definitely, after watching this last World Meet, I think there's some teams that'll have their sights on it.
Yeah, interesting now with these bigger tunnels coming around, and especially this 32-foot tunnel in Abu Dhabi. Have you had a chance to fly in that yet?
I have not. No. We have been trying to figure out a way to get over there, but every time either scheduling or whatever doesn't work out, or maybe I'm just not selling it well enough to my boss. But we haven't quite got the authorization to go do that yet.
Which competitions are closest to your heart, Drew? Do you think which wins or even losses? Which competitions have had the most impact on you mentally?
Well, I think that first one, that 2010 World Meet where we lost, I think that had a big impact on all the team at that point. People don't remember, we actually finished the second day of that meet up. We were winning. And the third day, the closing rounds, is where we had stumbled a little bit and lost the lead. And we were all in a little bit of disbelief, After the medal ceremony, I remember going back to the hotel there, and the guys were just, looking at that silver medal thinking, man, we got the wrong one. They gave us the wrong medal. And I think that really lit the fire for a lot of the veteran competitors there to make sure that we didn't do that again. Yeah. And we had a close battle with the French again in 2012 at Dubai. And, I think that'll be the one that stands out in my memory the most. It was the first world championship win for the Golden Knights in 15 years, at that point. So it broke a cold streak for the Army and for the Golden Knights. And I think that's the one that maybe stands out right now. But I think if you ask any competitor on the team, they ask what their favorite world championship is. And I think the stock answer is going to be the next one.
Incredible. And what a meet that was as well. I'm just thinking about it now and remembering the sensations on the airfield. It really was a special time. It really was indeed. Is it so on a yearly basis? What kind of training are you doing? How does the training work?
It's a healthy mix of this past year. It's a healthy mix of 4-way and 8-way as we kind of deal with some personnel stuff, and we kind of reapproached in 2020 and 21 how much we had in 2020. We reapproached how we wanted to shape 8-way training, and we kind of decided that we wanted to get our feet wet in 4-way to individually prime each competitor to be faster and more agile, and use kind of the higher temperament of 4-way to facilitate the 8-way training. If we thought if we moved a little smaller and a little faster, that by the time we shifted over to 8-way, things would kind of slow down, and we knew we could see more in 8-way. I think that's a big challenge for a lot of 4-way competitors that shift to 8-way, is they have to get used to seeing double the size of the formation. Well, for us, the challenge was shifting from 8-way to 4-way, having to get used to the speed and the cadence of each page. So, that was a good way for us to kind of naturally pick up the competition average without actually training 8-way. So luckily, that had a secondary benefit too. The Army's going through and the Golden Knights are going through some mission changes, and the landscape is shifting a little bit with where we fall in the Army and what our mission set is going to be. So, and this probably isn't public news. This is probably breaking right here on Air Sports News. We are shifting to 4-way for the upcoming seasons. So we're downsizing the competition section on the Golden Knights, and we're going to attack the 4-way field for the upcoming 22 competition season.
That's a scoop right here, isn't it? That's good to pick that one up. And talking of 4-way, you've just had a bit of an experience of 4-way in Qatar with the CISM meet. Have you done CISM before? Have you done many CISMs? I don't really know how many.
So that was only my second CISM. When the 8-way team was rolling and things were clicking well, we always kind of prioritized the World Championships more than we prioritized the Military World Games. The GKF4, the women's team, pretty much had CISM on lock. So, we knew that they were going to go there and take care of business, and that let us focus on going and winning world championships. So Qatar was only my second CISM, and I got to say I've been pretty spoiled. My first one was 2019 in Wuhan,
Yeah.
which they did an incredible job. And then, Qatar was not outdone with the accommodations and
Yes.
how well the meet was run and the aircraft and everything was just really good. We didn't quite finish as high as we would have liked to. We would have liked to secure the podium finish there, but for a couple of our newer competitors, it was a fantastic experience, and I think that experience is going to carry them, long term. We laid a great foundation for a couple of the new guys, and I think they're going to turn out to be some of our star players moving forward.
I was talking to the parachuting president about the next one, 6 months in Austria. He said, yes, they're going to have a bit of a wake-up call. Military food,
right.
military transport.
That's right. It's not all pomp and circumstance. Sometimes it's barracks in a field.
Fantastic. And pushing my luck a little bit, do we know who the four-way team is going to be yet?
We do, yeah. So we're gonna sit Jesse Starr and I for the year. I'm actually close to retirement, so this next year in the Army will be my last, and then I'll retire in the spring of 2023. So it's a little bit of a Dave Growl situation. I didn't want to eat up a slot inside the four-way team just to leave the next year, when we could be training a new competitor for 2 years. Getting ready for an on year. For the next nationals. So I'm going to step back and really just kind of act as the coach and the alternate. And the main slot flyers of the formation will be Dave Flynn, who was Golden Knights Gold's tail. And then we're going to fold in the 3 members of Golden Knights Black from the U.S. Nationals. So it'll be Rico Cifuentes as the outside center. Dave Flynn will be the inside center. Mitch Stockenberg will be the tail, and Mike Connors will be the point.
Strong, a lot of potential there, my friend.
A lot of potential and a lot of youth,
Yes.
Mitch Stockenberg and Mike Connors both are, we just brought them on last year. They were the alternate and the videographer respectively, and then we had a little bit of a personnel shakeup. And we gave them each a slot in the 8-way, and we said, hey, you got to go. It's sink or swim. Yeah. And they really did great. We made a bunch of jumps. They did a lot of homework. They spent a lot of time at home studying, watching video, asking questions, calling people. And actually, they had so little training that the practice jumps we made at the U.S. Nationals in Eloy, they each made their 200th 8-way jump at the Nationals there. So, and they secured a pretty decent average and a second place finish with only a couple hundred 8-way jumps.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. And for you, Drew, with retirement, what's that going to mean for you? What's your plans over the next few years? Any idea?
I don't know. Is Air Sports News taking any applications? I haven't figured it out.
You're good with the content. I noticed that in Qatar. Yes.
No. That's a conversation my wife Kelly and I have been having. Transitioning out of the military, spending 20 years in the Army. It's you get used to a certain way of life, and you get used to being good at one thing. And unfortunately, being good at skydiving doesn't always, hey buddy, doesn't always set you up for success later in life. So obviously I'm not going to leave the sport, I'm going to keep jumping and we'll see about, I'm sorry, buddy, I'm doing an interview.
What's he called?
His name's Brady.
Brady. Ready for dinner, I think.
But yeah, so as far as full-time career, I'm not sure. I'm still feeling that out, but I'd like to stay in the community. I'd like to keep coaching, keep competing here and there, and just kind of see where the next chapter of my life takes me.
You're certainly living in the right place, Drew. You've got everything around you.
That's it. I've got Paraclete not too far down the road, and I've got the tunnel, and I can still stay active in the skydiving community. And luckily I've got plenty of golf courses around, which is my third love. So I can at least enjoy a little bit of a slower pace.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for your time. It's been a really, really nice chat, and good news about the 4-way. And it's going to be an exciting couple of years coming up. But Drew, thanks very much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Regan. It's always great to talk to you.